there, friends. It's Michelle Caron from Harmony Way again, and I'm here to talk to you about a plant called Rubus idaeus. And technically speaking, this one's not that. This is Rubus spp. It's a wild black raspberry specifically, but we also have cultivated Rubus idaeus, which is our cultivated raspberry. And this is a beautiful plant. You can see the flowers are so pretty. They smell really good, and you can either hear or see probably so many pollinators hanging out, getting a meal from this. Do you see the bees? There are flies, bees, moths, and butterflies that are enjoying this plant right now as I'm filming this. And this plant is usually, we would obviously eat the fruit. We love to eat raspberries. And we also, though, would use the leaves and the roots as medicine from this plant. And typically speaking, historically, this plant is a woman's ally in many ways. It's also a men's ally. And it's great for a lot of things. So it's used for throat health. That's a less commonly known use for this plant. But it's also applied to help with uterine issues. So for problems like dysmenorrhea or heavy painful menstruation, irregular menstruation, as well as preparing the uterus in the third trimester, toning it, helping it to be really strong, getting it ready for labor, and then postpartum to help contract and tone the uterus back down to its regular size or close to that, helping to facilitate that process. It's also extremely nourishing. It's a nutritive herb, and it tastes really good. It tastes a lot like, if you're someone who enjoys black, orange pekoe, green tea, white tea, it's got a really similar taste to that because it's high in tannins, because it's an astringent, tonifying herb. Or plant, really. We don't even have to call it an herb. It's a beautiful plant all around, and it's food and medicine. And as far as the roots go, the roots have traditionally been used for things like dysentery and serious problems with diarrhea, where the digestive tract and the intestines would need to be toned and calmed down and soothed. And so we would use this with probably a combination of other herbs to help with that. There are actually stories that during the Revolutionary War in this country, on both sides, there would be dysentery sometimes, and they would actually stop battle to go dig up wild raspberry and blackberry roots to help with their dysentery. So the battles would be stopped for raspberries to help them. So this plant is wonderful on many, many levels, and it's a plant that I'm a huge fan of. And it's readily available. It's very easy to find growing in the wild. It's also pretty simple to grow if you have the space for some little raspberry trees, or bushes rather. If you have space for little raspberry bushes of the cultivated kind, Rubus idaeus, again, is the name of those. It's very simple to grow. They kind of take over if you let them. And these wild ones, you can see, if I back up, I'm just going to pan out. This is all black raspberries over here with a few weeds mixed in. I did not plant these. These have been here for a very long time, no doubt, and they've spread as a sort of a thicket of prickers, and that's what you need to be careful of. See the prickers? So the stem is fuzzy and hairy. Let's see if this will focus better. There we go. But you can also see it has thorns, right? So sometimes, in my experience, some of the best medicine from plants comes from those plants that have prickers and thorns and hairs. So if you're willing to be very gentle, very delicate, very respectful and careful of this plant, it will give you wonderful medicine. And this is a plant that's for people who are struggling with the issues that I mentioned. And it can be used for men's issues, like I said, for urinary issues and reproductive issues in men. And for the same toning qualities, really for any part of the body, but particularly throat and reproductive glands, as well as digestive tract. It's helpful for those. It's something you can drink every day. It's high in all kinds of vitamins and minerals, and it's really soothing to drink, and it's tasty. Very mild flavor to this one. And we don't usually use the flowers for medicine, but we would, like I said, eat the fruits as well. So I just wanted to introduce you to this really lovely, beautiful plant that sometimes gets a bad rap because it does tend to be aggressive in its growing patterns, but it's because we love it and it's useful and it wants us to pick berries. It provides tons of food for animals. And every year in the early spring, when a lot of our deer are pregnant, I actually see them eating the early spring leaves off of these. And it's because they know that this is the right plant that's going to help them when they're giving birth and just postpartum. So even animals find this plant to be useful as more than just a source of food. It's medicinal for them too in many cases in the wild, and they instinctively know which ones to have. Look at these gorgeous flowers. And they're just reflecting the sun, calling all those bugs to them, all those pollinators. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or night, and I hope you learned a little something from this video about Rubus idaeus and all the different varieties, the SPP varieties of blackberries, raspberries, and black raspberries of the wild and cultivated varieties. So take care, and thanks for joining me.